So a New York paper called the Journal News is under fire for printing the names and addresses of local gun owners, even adding a map that shows exactly where they live. Some gun owners are ticked, which is wrong, because this article is the best argument for gun ownership ever. I mean, if you knew that an idiotic editor would out non-gun owners, wouldn't you get a gun to protect yourself from the thugs the paper just enabled? You think the paper works for the NRA? If anything, non-gun owners should be livid, for the paper made them the easiest marks. Just look at this map. What do you see? Not just pockets of gun owners in red, but pockets without. How comfy would you feel knowing your gun-free zone is now public? Remember when the media once championed privacy? I guess they only champion it for the folks that they like. But listening to the media talk about guns is like listening to a tree talk about algebra. Consider celebrities like Beyonce speaking out on gun control. Someone might tell her that of all the problems her husband, Jay-Z, has, owning a gun ain't one. I bet if there were a gun map of Hollywood, it might light up like Rudolph's nose. And even if a starlet's house doesn't show up, that's because the gun belongs to a bodyguard or a boy toy. So the next time a liberal asks if you own a gun, return the question and preface it with the fact that the answer, once public, impacts his family's safety. But really, the best response to someone asking if you own a gun, none of your damn business. But you're welcome to find out, and not by opening a paper.
Ooh, that was menacing.
Was it menacing?
Yeah, it frightened me, and I'm across the table from you.
Okay, here's what I don't understand. Since when, Kimberly, did asking about guns not be a personal thing? When I was growing up, people in the neighborhood, it would be like asking your best friend how much money his dad made. It was just something you didn't bring up. And that, in a sense, created a favor for everybody else, because nobody knew who owned one, who didn't.
Well, right away, I just thought about, first, yes, it's incredibly inappropriate to do, the fact that they're outing people who are exercising their constitutional right to own a weapon to be able to protect themselves and their families. But think about the potential liability as well. What if, what if those homes gets robbed? Homes are robbed many times for the firearms that are contained within. I know.
Yeah.
That happened.
You've done it many times.
No, but it happened to my brother's house in San Francisco. So anyway, that's the type of thing that happens. And they know you have certain kind of weapons. They might come in and try and hit you.
And Eric, some people own guns because they're under threat. Therefore, you're actually publishing the address of somebody who might be under threat.
The only people who are upset with this are the people who don't own guns.
Exactly.
I have a Kimber 1911 and a Browning over-under. If you want to find out what the business end of that looks like, come through my house. It won't matter if I'm in the New York Post, the New York Daily News, or whatever it is, or not. The people who own guns, no, go ahead, publish it. In fact, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
Letting people know you own a gun is safe.
Yes.
Is a safety factor. Putting it on your door, this house protected by Smith & Wesson, you mean business. The bad guys are going to go somewhere else.
I had that on my car.
Those of us,
bumper sticker.
right? Those of us who have guns are all in favor of this.
Andrea, you know what it is? It reminded me when I was living in Allentown, where you once lived, that people would put alarm signs on their houses when they really didn't have an alarm, which used to tick me off because I paid for the alarm.
I had a fake car alarm for my car. It was just a little red light that flashed, but I couldn't afford the car alarm, so I was one of those people. But yeah, look, you're a former magazine editor, an editor. This is horribly irresponsible. There was a way to do this story, like there always is, that they could have done it, I think, with some journalistic integrity, like published the number of people in each town and went town by town. But it's basically, I think, also demonizing these gun owners as well. I mean, this is a Manhattan-based paper. It's a suburb of Manhattan. And they always do this. They treat gun owners like they're sex offenders, right? And now it's not, the liberal way is acceptance. This is, let's identify the people who have guns. But really, it's just pitting, I think, neighbor against neighbor.
Like they're lepers or something, or pariahs. It's such a stigma.
Or leper pariahs.
Yes,
leper pariahs. Like, I got to tell you guys are totally bollocksed me up. Because I thought that you were going to come out with a rant that said, why did they do this? Poor gun owners. But to the contrary, you're saying, great.
Yeah.
Tell me where. And then Eric comes out.
Poor gun owners
and then Eric says, oh, yeah, I'm all for it because the bad guys will run in the other direction. But you know why they did it? Because in the aftermath of Connecticut, a lot of people think that people with a lot of guns, well, you know what? It's a public safety issue. And you say to yourself, do I want to really live near to a bunch of people who have a bunch of guns, who have an arsenal in the basement?
Where do you think it's safer?
What?
The area with all the guns or the area with no dots on it?
I don't. Let me just say, unlike you, I don't own guns, and I feel safer without guns.
New York City has like 3 dots.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. All that suburb that they posted had
legal dots.
Thousands. Right. And guess what's safer? The one with 3 dots, or the one with all the 1,000? The one with the 1,000 dots is a lot more safe than New York City.
Obviously
it's a dangerous place.
Obviously not, because the odds are that, Eric, you're going to shoot your wife or your wife shoots you.
No, he's not.
Yeah, I mean, that's
the odds are the wife will shoot him.
The wife will shoot him. But I'm just telling you, that's who uses the gun. Or guess what? Adam Lanza shows up and he starts.
Bad guys.
No. Bad guys. You got all these fantasies about bad guys. I tell you, the bad guys. I wish they had dots for the bad guys who had the gun.
That's
Very
the
good
point.
point.
Sex offender registry.
Because that's in my neighborhood.
Right.
It's the bad guys with the guns who are intimidating, killing, and maiming.
You just made my point. Why are gun owners treated the same way that sex offenders are? Why do they have to collect this database where they monitor them in this nefarious way? The way they started.
Wait a minute. This is the government.
They monitor. They're outing them like they've done something wrong. The same way that you get carded if you have to buy allergy medication. It's a symptom of a greater disease.
No. You have a permit to own a gun. The government says here, and so it's freedom of information.
Can I ask you something? Would you be comfortable with your address outed if we outed the addresses of
my address is out?
How about the writers of the Journal News?
Yeah, in fact, the guy who wrote the article revealed that he owns a gun.
But now I think they chose him.
I'm telling. I'm in the phone book. I'm in the newspaper. I mean. You know, the thing is, for all of us,
call me.
Thank you. But for all of us, there's a high degree of risk. I mean, one thing that Greg often says on this show that's absolutely true is we're guarded.
Yeah.
You know what? People guard us. I mean, that's not the issue. So it's not that I'm anti-Second Amendment. I'm just saying, let's be realistic. There's a public safety issue about people having too easy access to guns.
You have it backwards.
Okay.
You have it backwards.
Thank you.
If you took the whole country and did the same thing on the map of the country, the safest places to live would be the ones with a lot of dots on it, not the ones with no dots on it.
You're wrong.
No, I'm not.
Because you know what? You know what? I live in urban America, right?
Places with
and you know where
concealed
people, 34 people a day die from gun injuries in this country.
But you have the toughest gun control laws, don't you?
Yeah, in D.C. D.C. has tough
gun control laws. Don't
worry. They're not doing anything. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need to absolutely look at why access to guns is so easy. Why in New York City, where you said Manhattan doesn't have the dots, why are there so many guns illegally flowing from Virginia?
Because the bad guys get the guns.
Hold on. You know who else doesn't have the dots? The city of Chicago doesn't have dots, and Washington, D.C. doesn't have any dots.
But
and you know what? Violent crimes with guns are exploding.
And that's what I said to you earlier. I wish they had a map with the bad guys who had guns. But where do these bad guys get guns from, Eric? They get them from states with lax gun control laws.
They get them illegally on the street because they don't want to commit a crime with a weapon that is registered to them. Because every time let me tell you something.
That's
as a prosecutor, there wasn't one case that I had where we had a gun. We're like, oh, thank you, Mr. Criminal, for being felony stupid and registering the gun and then committing a crime with your name, address, exactly where we can find you. It doesn't happen.
Yeah, but I'm saying we need laws that would make it harder to remove the registration numbers. I think we need hard gun control, so it's harder for bad guys to get the guns illegally.
Number, and so it's a gun that's clean that they can't trace back.
They can take
then
steps.
you have to do ballistic comparisons.
And you know what? There are real steps they can take. They can close the gun hole loop show. They can stop selling guns.
Is there really a gun show loophole? I keep hearing about this, and I try to find it.
It's an enigma.
You want me to tell you what it is?
Yeah, please do.
Okay, so if you don't have a license to sell guns, but you're a collector of guns, you can sell a gun to Eric Bolling, Mr. Anti-Gun Control, and you don't have to. He doesn't have to go through a background check. That's legal. That should not be legal.
But I haven't seen any. Have there been major crimes committed by people who got guns at gun shows?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I want to make. Can I just? I want to read this. A lot of celebrities have come out for gun control. One celebrity hasn't. His name's Jesse James. He's the motorcycle mogul with an infamous love life. I want to read a part from his Facebook post that struck me that made the point for me, which he said: the rights to self-protection in the middle of all this death and violence in Long Beach, California. That's where he lives. My shop, West Coast Choppers, was never robbed or broken into in 20 years. It was pretty common knowledge in my neighborhood that I carried and would defend my business. And isn't that the real fact? Is that when people know you got a gun, they've done research on this. Criminals are less likely to go to a place where they know it's armed.
That's
Do you see a lot of gun violence in Texas?
Yeah, that's his point.
Not really, because everybody has a gun. I want to make a point quickly about the celebrities, though. That ad that you referenced in your monologue with Jennifer Aniston, Cameron Diaz, Gwyneth Paltrow, they've all starred in movies with guns. The Bounty Hunter, not exactly using Nerf bats. But I find it interesting. They love to exercise their First Amendment right, which they can, even if it's hypocritically, but they're doing it against the Second Amendment. You can't have one without the other, because if you start talking about taking away the Second Amendment, Well, then that's a slippery slope to take away the others.
Can I just say you also want to protect your First Amendment rights, but telling people they can't speak up and make that ad, you want to
I didn't tell them that one. In the ad, they're speaking against the Second Amendment.
That's where I was going to allow me to continue. I don't think anybody wants to take away your Second Amendment rights, including the Supreme Court and President Obama. The Supreme Court has affirmed you have a right to own guns. I think it's wrong-headed in terms of a militia. You're not a militia.
I actually am, though.
No, I love the argument. It's outdated. It's a militia. It's from another era. Okay, then
it's freedom.
Okay, let me ask you something. Is freedom of the press outdated then?
No, why is it outdated?
Is that just back when we had printing presses and so First Amendment doesn't apply to the internet?
We still have printing presses. What are you talking about?
You know what I love, though?
Can't make the other era argument.
No, it's not true.
Earlier this morning, as you know, I go to the gym every day for my quads. Because CNN is on at that time, and they asked this question: how is this any different than posting the prices of your homes? Which, everybody, I'm like, is that the dumbest question you've ever heard in your life?
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's CNN for you. All right. I couldn't resist.